Hi folks, Tim with ABC Acres here in Hamilton, Montana. Today is Wednesday. It is about 1:30. I would give you the date, but I've totally lost it. September 19th, I believe, today. And we're here talking about weeds, or in this case, thistle, a plant that I don't want in this particular location. And thistle has its place, but not here in my lifetime living fence. And so we're going to talk a little bit about today on how we can create ground cover that not only offers real benefits to your particular planting, but at the same time prevents competition with your long-term plants. Every time I do a video, I seem to get a helicopter coming over. So how can you incorporate a living mulch component that doesn't compete with the long-term plants to minimize the time and effort it takes to maintain your landscape? So let's go take a look at what we can do. One such ground cover we use here at ABC Acres in my personal garden is wood mulch. It's readily available here in Montana, with all surrounded by forests. It might be the same with you. If not, check with your local utility companies. They usually chip on site as they're clearing along the electrical lines, and we'll be happy to drop it off at your property, usually at no extra charge. It does a fantastic job of compressing tight, hard for things to grow through over a short period of time. As it rots down, it becomes a fungal mat of mycelium, a network of nutrient movement between the main plantings, Russian sage, black-eyed Susan, to name a few. But mulch does have its negative side. Over time, even the hardiest of species will overcome wood mulch. This could be lupin here, jettisoned by local seed, dropped in bird droppings. Here we've got thistle coming up through its rhizomatous root systems, coming up through the mulch. And so there is an element of maintenance. In the previous shot, that gets a new layer of mulch every 2 years. This project is slated for this fall. We'll come in and we'll hand pick out the lupin, the nitrogen fixer that we don't want in this particular part of the garden. We'll clean it out, pull it out, and then we're going to put 8 inches of mulch onto this spot where over the winter and some snow, it'll compress back down. So every 2 years we're doing that. So there is upkeep with a mulch ground cover. Another option is sheet mulching. Here, future production garden in 2019, and using as a border, we're going to go ahead and put down the sheet mulch to smother the existing growth, some grasses, some broadleaf weeds, undesirables. And we're going to add our drip, and then we're just going to cover it up with a mulch. And so this is an addition to a mulch to give it a longer term success rate. And what we'll do then is, using the drip irrigation, we're going to plant something on here that will purposely come up above the mulch and choke out anything that in the future will come from underneath or over top, much like what you saw in the previous video with the lupin and the thistle. I thought this was a cool shot. Sure, it's not a large landscape that we're trying to thwart out weed growth. It's one of our planter beds within our young fruit orchard. But this is clover, thick as thieves in here. And so what you can do is a wonderful ground cover, nitrogen fixer, pollinator for the bees, holds its color late into the fall compared to typical lawn grasses. And so this is something, through a landscape project that you have, that you can generously distribute the white Dutch clover, in this case, on your landscape. Give it a little water and poof, up it comes. It's gonna be very hard for anything to outcompete the aggressive, lush growth of this white Dutch clover. Much like the clover in the previous shot, we have comfrey here. Comfrey, as we've got lined up and down this future hedge along this fence row that we planted a few years ago. It aggressively spreads out when given a little moisture, and we can chop this once, twice, 3 times a year and take the leaves and lay them down, much like we've done here. So So what we're doing is we're creating a defense for encroaching seed that would like to propagate in this area. But over the course of several times during the year, we're taking this growth, and again, these plants will be 4 foot, 5 foot cubed. And we're taking that, cutting it, and laying it down, constantly putting a mulch element in there to thwart out growth of competing species. Beep, boop, beep. Am I in the shot? I don't know. Anyway, similar to the Comfrey running the line, this spring in one of our hoop houses, we had well over 100 strawberry plants that had taken over the whole hoop house. Well, we wanted to go ahead and use that space for productive veg. So we transplanted it out underneath or alongside our raspberry patch. And so the idea is, again, transplanted this spring. In time, this will morph in underneath the raspberries, and things such as milkweed, thistle, and other types of undesirable plants will be choked out by the aggressive nature of the ground covering strawberry, which produces a beautiful fruit, but unencumber the continued vertical growth and production of the raspberries. So oftentimes, when one is designing a planting system, they tend to focus just above grade. That tree, that fruit-producing shrub. It's so important to look down below, because over the life cycle of that plant, tending, harvesting, you can greatly minimize the amount of groundwork that you'll have to do by focusing on the protection, the armor on the ground. So whether it's a fruit producing, stretching strawberry, it could be a guild of synergistic plants, comfrey, clover, alfalfa, things that are bringing in a fertilization component that you can chop and drop and build the productivity of the parent plant, or aesthetics. Give some consideration to the ground cover, because in the long run, after the first 2-3 years of getting your plant going, your main species plant going, it'll take care of itself. You're going to end up spending more and more time dealing with what's on the ground. So give that some thought the next time you plan for your planting projects. Well, I hope that gives you a little bit of insight for this winter's design time period. And if you have questions, concerns, let me know. If you are using something different, love to hear from you. We're always looking to do something a little extra here at ABC Acres. Happy growing. Have a great afternoon. Say bye, Sage. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.